Yesterday, Carly Sleeman got the party started early yesterday, getting herself on base. Allie Blum able to keep the momentum going, and Maddie Clark laying down a sacrifice bunt yesterday, keeping the party going. And then Carissa Hamilton with the RBIs just to get them on the board early on in the game yesterday. Carly Sleeman with the 0-2 count, getting behind in the count early, but fouling some stuff off. Wachenio working ahead in the count. Foul ball there. We saw that kind of hit off the knob of the bat. And Carly Sleeman seeing that ball deep in the zone. Extremely quick hands and just sending it out the right field wall. All right, we've got DJ in the booth, everybody.
I'm not out of breath at all.
Thanks for showing up.
Hey,
I took play-by-play. A little nervous.
I may or may not have driven just a tad.
Hey, we don't need to admit it. Hey, we're live.
I'm here for it. But I will say this. Kentucky,
they showed up.
2 games in a row, setting the tone, scoring first in the top of the first.
They showed up. And that's something we talked about yesterday. As Agbayani calls off Garcia. Is talking to Coach Lawson. They know they've got to get on the board early, attack often, because they know they've got to put up a lot of runs to stay in the game against the Sooners.
Absolutely, and that showed last night. And I think, you know, one of the things that Coach Lawson's teams has done well, I mean, she's 19 years at Kentucky. Every single team that she has ever had, they are coached well. They play the game hard, and they play the game the right way. And I think that that's something, if you talk to Coach Lawson at any point, regardless of the scoreboard, regardless of wins and losses, that's the message, right? Is to do things the right way.
They are pounding the ball. Lots of foul balls, lots of attack.
Maddie Clark lacing the pitch from Guashino. And you can, if I were taking a guess, Destiny, there was a team conversation had last night.
Oh, for sure. I think just being able to see what they did early in the game, it's more so a conversation of how do you continue that throughout the game.
Yeah, I mean, if we go back, if you blinked, that game got turned on its head very quickly. But the Wildcats were in game 1 until the bottom of the 3rd. The Sooners racked up a huge cricket number as Maddie Clark continuing to take massive hacks. But I just felt like if you went back and rethinking that game that we got to be on the call for last night, it's not that Kentucky played poorly.
No.
It was one half inning where the Sooner offense did what they've done to so many teams this season.
Yeah, and it's a matter of finishing. As she gets that forwards K, excuse me, 56 miles per hour on that changeup, pulling the string.
And really nice. We talked so much about wanting to see from both pitching staffs a competitive off-speed pitch. That's a really nice 2-strike changeup. And what I love about that pitch more is the location. Working straight at the knee. You can throw the changeup down the middle of the plate if you've got downward break like that.
Yeah. No, perfect placement, good movement, and pulled off just enough. But I think going back to what we were talking about with Kentucky, they got on the board early. They've got to continue to put pressure on this defense. And on the other side, we saw Oklahoma scoring a lot of runs with 2 outs.
Yes.
And so they've got to be able to finish on defense as well.
7 of the 10 Sooner runs in game 1 were scored with 2 outs. So Kentucky pitching had them on the ropes. Opportunities to work out of some binds as Carissa Hamilton continues to make Oshina work in the circle. Lots of foul balls coming from this Kentucky offense here to start this ball game. But we saw some good defensive plays from Kentucky. We saw a couple massive, if you go back and you look at Abby Hammond's start, she threw some big time ground balls to put the Wildcats in position to work out of some jams. Little check swing, they're gonna say she did to even the count at 2-2. But so reminiscent of last night. Regardless of what continues here in the top of the first, Wildcats out to an early start and gonna make the Sooners chase them. And Oshina ground ball right back to her. She'll glove it, and that will do it here in the top of the first, but not before Kentucky.
At the University of Kentucky, we built
to do all sorts of things, hitting .505 with 54 hits, 8 doubles, 4 triples, 6 home runs, 30 RBIs.
Doing all of that from the leadoff spot.
Yes. And, you know, she's truly capable of placing the ball as a slapper. She can bunt as a standing in or running through the box. She's got power. I mean, she's a true triple threat.
And that pitch from Hindigas in for a called strike. Hindigas getting the nod here this afternoon. Did not enter the game at any point last night, but does a really good job of mixing speeds, as we saw her do just there. And she doesn't just bring in the changeup or bring in the off speed. You'll also see the senior work her pitches at different speeds beyond, as that pitch pops it right up on the infield to Clark for out number 1. But as I was talking about the change of speeds, but Hindigas keeps the ball down, and that's going to be a really big key for Kentucky, especially in this wind.
Yeah, we'll take a look at her scouting report. Mid-60s, works vertically, dependable changeup. We talk about it over and over again, that having a changeup is so important at this level. You've got to be able to mix speeds, keep the hitters off balance. And one big piece in talking to Coach Lawson is they understand as a staff, you've got to keep the ball down in the zone and keep the ball in the park to keep it possible for them to stay in this game.
And speaking of keeping the ball in the park, Kendall Wells, the freshman, hit her 28th home run of the season last night. And again, not just, I mean, it's really easy to get caught up in the home run power that we've seen from Kendall Wells, but the batting average is there. The doubles are there. She's drawing walks. Just the discipline and the maturity that is coming from a freshman who's really kind of shown herself to be just an all-around hitter.
Yeah, I mean, this entire freshman class has been so impressive. And getting to see Kendall Wells just on fire, and these home runs she's hitting. That one went 275 feet. First pitch swinging, didn't even have to see a pitch, and able to send it 275 out of the park. She's just so quick to contact, sees the ball well, very decisive in the box.
All adjectives that you don't always use with a freshman.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Sarah Hindigas Nice location on the outer half, getting Wells to reach just a bit. Talking about a freshman campaign that has been done by so few. And I think the wildest part about it is when you talk about some of those names, they all wore Sooner uniforms.
Yeah.
Lauren Chamberlain, Jocelyn Allo.
Yeah. And I think what's even more crazy is where we're at in the season.
That's a nice pitch from Hindegis. But ball forward to Kendall Wells as she draws a walk to bring up Garcia, marking her 21st walk on the year. I will say this about Hindegis. I really like that 3-2 pitch.
Yeah.
Missing just a bit inside, but in on the hands enough. And again, just showing some of the discipline that the freshman Wells has. As Gabby Garcia stands in and takes first pitch outside for a ball, and Emmert gonna go have a chat with her pitcher. Hindegis so far in this game throwing some really competitive pitches.
Yeah, I think she's looking really good in the circle. I love her kind of attention to detail on that last pitch. She was talking to Emmert behind the plate like, hey, where did that miss? What do I need to do different? And I feel like that's maybe what that slight conversation was. Let's get on the same page. What's the umpire calling? What is he liking? What is he not?
Wells takes off on the hit and run. Wells slides safely into third, and the execution coming from Gabby Garcia on the hit and run. Sooners eyeing to knot this game up with a little bit of a hit and run action and just aggressiveness at the plate here in the first.
Yeah, Kendall Wells going first to third on that. I mean, you've got to be on your horse. You've got to see that through the infield. Just know I'm going first to third on this play. There was no question for Plotz to even have an opportunity for the play at third. Gabby Garcia just staying on fire, keeping the momentum alive.
Cassidy Pickering stands in. The 0-1 just misses outside, and again, we were kind of in the middle of discussing Hindegis and trying to find the zone on the corner again, throwing a lot of really competitive and good, well-located pitches.
Yeah. We talk about throwing to this lineup. I mean, you've got to be able to find the perfect location, because if you leave anything around the zone, they are going to send it out. I mean, the spray chart with this lineup is incredible. There's not a lot of pitches in or out that they can't handle, up or down that they can't handle. Got to keep the ball down in the zone and find the right locations on the corners.
The 3-1 to Pickering misses outside, which will load him up for Ella Parker, and what is the second walk here in this ball game for Hindegis. There's a good look at Coach Gasso.
There she is.
Rocking the cream in her 32nd season at the helm of the Sooners. 8-time national championship coach. Hindegis misses a bit low. I am a bit surprised to see the white visor with the cream top. I'd expect maybe a crimson, but always rocking the visor. A little bit of a check swing from Ella Parker, and they're going to say she offered on a nice drop ball from Hindegis on the inner half. Big spot here for Ella Parker, who's moved down just a bit in comparison to where she was last night in this offensive lineup. In the 5 spot is Ella Emmert, keeping Kendall Wells honest. And I'll say this, Carly Sleeman saved a bit of what could have been a run or two.
Just trying to keep Kendall awake over there.
And there is that changeup.
It's a big out.
Massive strikeout for Hindegis, and pulling the string. She can throw it on any count.
See Ella Parker just get way out ahead of herself, kind of open up once she realizes, oh, that's not coming in as quick as I thought. What a great pitch.
That'll bring up Lexi McDaniel. Getting the start here in game 2, had a pinch hit opportunity last night. Has seen spot starts throughout the season, but an opportunity here today. This curveball just misses a bit low. And here we are, and I feel like this is so reminiscent of some things we saw last night. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Hindigus, massive strikeout of Ella Parker, and an opportunity here to work out of a huge jam as that off-speed pitch floats in for strike 1.
Man,
but
the ability to throw that in that count is huge.
Absolutely, and you can expect JT Gasso having a game plan.
Yeah.
Maybe setting a little bit of a late rhythm for that changeup. The 3-1 count here.
We saw the Sooners with a couple of bases loaded opportunities last night.
And the 3-1 just misses low and away to walk in the tying run. McDaniel, the 5-pitch walk, and the Sooners tie it up 1-1 as Coach Lawson heading out to have a chat with Hindigus and also the home plate umpire, Michael Hernandez. And here's from a pitcher's standpoint, right?
Yeah.
These are good pitches. I even said the pitch to Kendall Wells for ball 4. Quality pitch on the
last night, with the pitchers having more walks than normal because they're trying to paint the corners so perfectly. They're trying to keep the ball slightly out of the zone, but enough to chase. And that's what I think makes it more difficult as a pitcher, is you know what lineup you're facing. How do you continue to pound the zone, but make it to where the ball is not going to be sent out of the yard?
I think such a big piece of that too, and that's a great point, Destiny. And I feel like you still, you've got to trust your stuff.
Yeah.
Hindigus has tremendous pitches, and that's a really great location with the curveball. And you hear the Sooner fans groaning, but that's a strike every day of the week. And if it's not, there are some conversations that need to be had.
Yeah.
But we're seeing Hindigus throw some really good pitches, and still, again, here an opportunity to work out of this, but you've got to have competitive pitches, especially in some of those conversion counts. 2-1, now falling behind 3 balls and a strike.
I will say that Michael Hernandez behind the plate has been pretty consistent on his zone.
Yes. And payoff pitch here. Runners on the move. Bases loaded. 2 outs, 3-2 counts. Hindigus needing to be in the strike zone here. She rocks and fires. And we'll do it again.
Pitched 34 on the inning, and it's a lot. It's a lot for the first inning.
That pitch count's going to get up quick going deep into these counts.
Yeah.
And you know, we've seen 3 walks here in the inning. But again, Hindigus throwing some good pitches, but still trying to get on the same page.
Looking at Hindigus' numbers, I mean, she's got 80 strikeouts on the season. She had 38 walks coming into this game.
That's a few.
That is, but with 87 innings pitched, I mean, she's had 4 this inning.
Sid Barker asking for a little bit of time, but just as we have seen so far in this series, Kentucky putting themselves in a position to get out of a jam. 2 outs, bases loaded. Back-to-back walks, Sooners scoring both runs. Again, 2 outs.
Yeah, we have seen, again, all day yesterday. We're seeing it again today. Just when there's 2 outs, the Sooners have taken full control. That's when you want to see the Kentucky Wildcats finish it out.
2 misses upstairs, and Sooners putting 2 runs on the board on 1 hit. Drawing 4 walks to this point. It's the 1-2. Nice location. And again, the pitcher in me, the pitching coach in me really likes that location. But if you are not getting the call and you're not getting those bites from the hitters, you've got to find a way to find that zone, and maybe sensing a little bit of frustration from Hindigus.
Yeah, and I think, you know, it's tough because you've got a little bit of pressure put on yourself in the circle, but in this instance, let them make contact.
Really nice pitch. Damage here. This is a Kentucky team that started the season on a 13-game win streak between February and March. Off to an unbelievably hot start. They've been plagued a little bit by injury in the circle, but this is a good ball club. And it's, you get the feeling that it's a team who believes and knows what they're capable of, but has caught a couple cup breaks when it comes to having injuries to your pitching staff. That's always difficult to deal with, but also walking through a very, very difficult schedule. Hard to do in general, even harder to do when you're not at full capacity in the bullpen. And Hammond is retired for the first out here in the second to bring up Alexa Riddell.
Great communication on that. Agbayani taking complete charge of that fly ball. It's kind of hit in the middle of no man's land, but she got under it, made sure her teammates knew she was taking it. Great communication on that.
Alexa Riddell stands in for Kentucky. And Destiny, you were talking about Ailana Agbayani and just how clean and smooth she does everything.
She has been so fun to watch out on defense. She makes everything look so smooth, so clean. Great communication. She's a true leader out there. I love watching her turn double plays. It's extremely smooth. But, I mean, that Golden Glove is just so deserving. She's not talked about enough on defense. Really good defender out there.
You would think definitely in the running for that same award here in 2026. Just the consistency that Agbayani brings. We talk so much, it's really easy to get caught up on the offensive side of the ball, but just the calmness and the leadership that Agbayani has brought to this Sooner defense is something that probably, like you said, Destiny, does not get enough play.
On defense, and I feel like on offense too, she's such an important asset to this lineup. She's always getting the party started. And her energy as she's running down to first base, or when she makes it to second base from a double, I mean, she's always bringing the energy.
And Agbayani, you talk about good ball players. She knows what a good ball player looks like. Daughter of Benny Agbayani, played for the Mets. Knows a little bit about ball.
Yeah, she knows a little something.
This ball popped up on the infield, and she knew we were talking about her.
There she goes again. I mean, covering so much ground. She was playing deep in the hole. This is slight pop-up, but she covered so much ground again, taking control, taking leadership, owning that right off the bat, coming in, closing that gap, and making that sliding play.
Guashino, 2 pitches in a row, popped up to the right side, but really hammering the inner part of the plate. And Kentucky, as we see it there with the foul ball to Peyton Plotz, that pitch on the inner half, in on the hands, probably isn't a strike.
No. I think that's part of the challenge, right? Is how aggressive do I need to be with the pitches that I'm given? That's where, you know, Coach Lawson is like, we've got to be aggressive, we've got to attack. But Wachena's got some good movement.
Tremendous movement, spins the ball very well, works really well left to right. You'll also see her work the ladder up in the zone. But we were talking a little bit about Hindegis. Struggled with the walk, struggled finding the strike zone just a bit in the bottom half of the first. And there's that inside pitch that we've seen these Kentucky hitters go after, and Platz takes it. But that's something, how much destiny offensively that Kentucky you've got to recognize. And those pitchers that are borderline lay off, because right now it's been established that that's not a strike.
Yeah, yeah. And that's where I think it's so important for the consistency of these umpires. You know, Michael Hernandez has been pretty consistent behind the plate. So as a hitter, you can use that to your advantage. As a pitcher, you understand, okay, if they're not chasing that pitch, I know I'm not getting a strike called. So making those adjustments is so important.
Peyton Platz looking to break up the 1-2-3 inning here in the second. As she awaits the 2-2. And Gabby Garcia will vacuum it up and retire the side as we head to the bottom half of the second. Sooners on top, 2-1.
Dates, write them down, add them to your calendars. Lots of changes could happen too. I'm excited to see how that selection show ends up.
There is a lot of conference play, not just in the SEC, but all around the country, that is going to shake a lot of things up between now and that second week of May. As Abby Dayton stands in to face Sarah Hindegis.
Talking about the schedule, I mean, OU's got a good matchup coming next weekend. In Kentucky, I mean, they can look at that schedule one of two ways. That if they come out on top of those series, that can put them in a good spot for postseason.
Yes, the rest of the way. Now, granted, still not quite even halfway through this series here in Norman. The 3-1 is in for a called strike, catching the bottom half of the strike zone.
Dayton did not agree with that.
But Kentucky.
Take a look
Let's take a look at this pitch. Curveball down in the zone. That's a tough pitch to take, as this ball is skied high to left center field. Riddell off the glove. And Abby Dayton easily standing up at second base. She was gone as soon as that ball was in the air, but a big mistake defensively for Kentucky.
Man, that hurts. You've got to make that play in left field. I think, you know, you've got to get under the ball and secure it. I think she had that one-handed kind of reach, and that's just, you've got to be able to see it all the way in, secure the ball, use two hands.
And that will roll it back up to the top of the lineup. And one thing we did not see from Kentucky too much in game one were defensive mistakes. Walks were a bit of an issue. Home runs, again, the things you can't defend. But you know Riddell would like to get that one back.
And finding it in her glove and putting that hope back into Hindegis.
It's amazing sometimes how the game evens out. As Wells stands in. Walked in her first at bat in the first inning.
I also want to talk a little bit about Abby Dayton getting herself to second base on that. That is huge. I feel like you see some ball players just kind of cruising it out. They see that easy fly ball hit to left field, kind of cruise on over to first, but her horse.
We've got Dayton tagging up on the fly ball, and she will slide in safely at third, but huge out for Sarah Hindegis. And yet another situation for Kentucky. 2 outs. Runner in scoring position, but an opportunity here for the Wildcats to work out of this.
Yeah, I think this would be huge. You know that had to have been part of the post-game conversation is, hey, when we've got 2 outs, we've got to close it out.
And just as we've seen so much in this series, 9 of the 12 runs the Sooners have scored have been with 2 outs. As Hindicus falls behind Gabby Garcia, 2 balls and no strikes. But what a spot here for the Wildcats to get some momentum.
Gabby Garcia with a .429 batting average. 16 home runs, 52 RBIs.
Just as we've seen so much in this game, Hindicus just absolutely fooling Gabby Garcia.
I think this is going to be a topic that JT has to talk to these hitters about is we're catching you guys out front pretty often in this game. You've got to be able to make that adjustment. Whether it's sit and change, late rhythm, whatever that looks like, they've got to be able to attack that changeup. They're going to see it often.
Big pitch here for Hindicus, looking to leave that runner stranded. Nice location, but again, has been, if you're a Kentucky fan, I think we've probably got a lot of upset Wildcat fans around the country right now. If you're a Sooner fan, you're enjoying the discipline, but just missing that pitch a bit outside as Gabby Garcia stays alive in the 3-2.
.60 pitches for Hindicus. It's a lot of pitches.
.3-2 from Hindicus, just misses outside, and her 5th walk here in this ball game will bring up Cassidy Pickering.
And that's where you want to see her close it out. The free passes at any moment in the inning is not good, but especially with 2 outs in the rally that the Sooners have proven to have with 2 outs.
So we've talked a lot about the consistency, and first pitch to Pickering, called strike. Very similar to some of these pitches we've seen on the outer half. And there is that off speed, but they're going to say she held.
They are having a little bit of a tough time identifying that soon enough to be on time.
It's such a deceptive pitch.
Yeah.
So much of having an effective changeup like Hindicus that you can throw far to make it 3-1 OU.
Cassidy Pickering just keeping the game alive, but Allie Blum over at second base covering a lot of ground. Keeping the ball in the infield, that's huge. Preventing Gabby Garcia from going first to third on that, just keeping that in the infield. Again, with 2 outs. Can't put a stop to the Sooners.
If you look, you almost feel the story of this series so far, and a lot of games, or a lot of innings still to be played here. But Kentucky has had opportunities to get out of some of these innings, and Blum such a good job at second base, as you said, Destiny, keeping that ball on the infield. Just not quite in time. But tale of two things that we've seen so far in this series. And Kentucky just having a really difficult time getting out of some of these innings, even with 2 outs.
Ella Parker was getting the pitch up in the zone. Definitely missed location. You've got to get that up and out of the zone and get her to chase that. Make contact a little more difficult, but
I don't know if we can say it enough, but what the Sooners are doing offensively with 2 outs.
yeah, it's unbelievable. You cannot put a stop to them. I mean, we've seen the Wildcats struggle with that 2 days in a row now. It's you get to that point and then it's a freebie or it's a base hit. Got to be able to close it out.
Looks like that may be the day for Kentucky starter Sarah Hindigas. And again, so similar to what we saw a night ago, we saw some really tremendous pitches.
Yeah.
But just not able to slam the door and get out of some of these tough innings.
And Lexi McDaniel finding herself in the lineup and being able to execute, keep the rally going.
Kentucky headed to the bullpen. Looks like it's going to be Mackenzie Oslanzi. We will tell you more about the hurler when we come back. But Sooners putting a little bit of distance between them and the Wildcats here early. And all kinds of 2-out hitting. Sooners on top, 6-1.
What one can do is beautiful. What one can do together is unstoppable. Come see what one can do.
Kia, movement that inspires.
Whoa, any pizza and any toppings for just $9.99?
We got Domino's.
3 different types of cheeses.
Any size pizza, any toppings.
This is crazy.
I mean, this deal ends Monday, so I'm about to go crazy too at Domino's.
Here in the bottom of the second, and the Oklahoma Sooners have been absolutely relentless with 2 outs.
7 runs last night were scored with 2 outs. Today we're seeing 6 runs with 2 outs. The Sooners just stay on top. They keep that momentum going. They don't let the outs really matter. Keeping it alive, but I'd like to see Kentucky kind of close the door and make something happen here.
Mackenzie Oslanzi, the junior, saw some time out of the bullpen last night, had some success late in this game, but facing the Sooners here, similar situation to where she was brought in game 1, just trying to keep Kentucky within striking distance, because this is an offense who, when they get rolling, they can put runs on the board, but really has good velo, and we saw a lot of that here last night.
Yeah, I mean, I thought she did well. I think they get themselves into a bind, which again, when you're throwing to this offense, it is so tough to find the perfect location. She was another one where we talked about her walk ratio and how, you know, in game 1 there were more walks than you expect based on her numbers, and it all goes back to just having to be so precise as a pitcher when you're facing this lineup.
And a lot different look as far as velo, as far as ability to change speeds at any count from what Aslanzi has in comparison to Hindigas, but has that velocity, the ability to mix speeds as Agbayani keeps the 2-out rally alive to make it first and second for Sydney Barker.
Agbayani just finding her way on. Good battle, 3-2 count. And that's where you want to see Aslanzi be able to close that out. You get yourself to a 3-2 count, how to compete, win that battle.
Barker grounded out to third, back in the first. And hit by that pitch, and didn't seem to phase her much.
Yeah, that kind of threw me off a little bit. Take a look here. Maybe that back foot?
Caught that back foot, back stirrup, maybe?
It hit something, because there's no arguments. There's no review.
And the Sooners bat around here in the second as Abby Dayton, who came around to score after she reached on an air. Swansea's trying to stop the bleeding here for Kentucky.
I think for the flip side, we talk about the 2 outs for Kentucky, just having a hard time getting out of that situation. But I've also noticed on OU's side, they're leaving a lot of base runners on in that moment. They're scoring 1 or 2 here, there, but they're giving up a lot of opportunity.
And this ball hit well to right, but Peyton Platts takes care of home plate umpire Michael Hernandez. The statement was that number 16 is now back into the game. So when that pitching change happened, it seems as if there was an issue with the substitution, and the Sooners get another crack at it here, but taken care of by Sleeman. No harm done, and the Wildcats are now going to take us to the top of the third. Sooners have a 4-run second inning to play before we get to Oklahoma City, as Wachenio is back to work. The senior Ella Emmert stands in. Tough night for Emmert at the plate in game 1. But when you talk to Coach Lawson about this Wildcat catcher, nothing but glowing. What a leader, what a captain, and just really such a big piece of this Kentucky club.
We always want to talk about who that vocal leader is, who that person is that the team kind of turns to, and this is one of them.
Good look at Coach Lawson. Emmert named team captain, and You can just see it in the way she handles her pitchers. We've spoken on it some, and it's the Kentucky staff that's been plagued by injury. And Emmert has done a good job of keeping things calm, and you can see her kind of controlling the tempo behind the plate, calming down her pitchers. Chenio fires the 1-2 upstairs.
Talking a little bit about the injuries. Carson Fall, one of the right-handed pitchers, Haley Nutter, Sydney Langdon, all facing some adversity, trying to get back into the circle.
Chenio fires the 2-2. Nice pitch on the inner half. But fouled off of the leg of Emmert. Chenio's done a really good job. Gave up the run in the first inning, but has really settled in nicely.
Yeah, I think she's looking great. Really mixing in multiple locations. Good try behind the plate by Wells, trying to bring that in.
And that curveball there on the outer half, and just as we've seen all day on both sides of the ball, it's been established that the river is not a strength.
Yeah. No, I think that's where we talk about the consistency over and over again as a pitcher and a hitter. You've got to know that zone.
But that one is to sit down Emmert. And Chenio challenging the senior and going right after her with some heat.
Pitching sequence here is incredible. It's a good pitch. The movement of that. You can see the frustration there with Emmert.
Brings up center fielder Emery Donaldson, and Donaldson made one heck of a catch back in the second inning. And Destiny, you know this, there are a few more difficult things than to track a hard hit line drive that has backspin.
Yeah. Yeah. It is tough, but I think, you know, big part of it is understanding where you're at in the lineup, what pitch is being thrown, what that spin could look like.
Ball hit well to left field, but Abby Dayton is underneath it, and two quick outs for Miley Chenio here in the third to roll it back over to Carly Steelman.
Outside of that home run from Carly Sleeman, I mean, Chenio has been lights out.
And Sleeman, first at bat here in the game, setting a tone with the home run, and things shifted quickly. First pitch, looping line drive, and Abby Dayton is there to retire Carly Sleeman, and
it's facing some of the most elite pitchers. Just doing a tremendous job leading this lineup, 1 and 2 hole today. We've seen Kai Minor kind of bounce around a little bit throughout the lineup. We've seen Pickering in the leadoff spot, Kai kind of 6, 7 hole, 9 hole sometimes, but no matter where she's been in the lineup, she has performed well.
We've talked so much about just what we're seeing out of some of these Sooner freshmen, and freshmen freak out sometimes.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where you're playing ball, how much playing time there's such a maturity over these Sooner freshmen that you don't see very often.
Yeah, and I think there's so many added layers to their plate now in college as a college athlete when you're looking at NIL deals and
Minor is retired. As Aslanzi takes care of the leadoff here in the third, and that's huge. Not something that's been able to be done too much in this series so far. And as we've talked about these Sooner freshmen, 37% of the home runs have been scored by freshmen for this Sooner offense.
And those numbers in itself, just based on the freshman class, have got to be pretty competitive nationwide amongst records, season records for teams, not just the freshman classes everywhere. I mean, that's got to be a competitive number amongst teams nationwide.
Aslanzi falls behind 2-1, but bringing that velocity. Look at the way she throws and has great velo, but moves the ball well, and great job by Emmerich there behind the plate, keeping a little bit of a cross pitch up in front. But when you look at the junior, big upside and so much room to grow. Kendall Wells skies it high and out of play.
Talking to Coach Lawson a little bit, just, you know, she's wondering, what are we doing with Kendall Wells? How do we get around this? And some feedback is just maybe consider walking her. And then she's like, attack, so powerful. You see that backside really strong, and she can really work with any pitch. You've seen her hit an outside pitch over the wall. You've seen her hit an inside pitch over the wall, up in the zone, out of the park, down in the zone, sending it out of the park. We saw one yesterday, down in the zone, 275 feet over that left field wall. I mean, she's such a good hitter and so tough to throw to.
That 29th home run reaching 255 feet. That bomb puts her one away from the OU freshman record, but also from the NCAA record as well. And we made mention of this in game one, Destiny. That is, with the pace that she set, says Gabby Garcia stands in. With the pace that she is setting, that is something that we very well could see here this weekend. And you look at the most home runs all time by a freshman in D1 history, Jocelyn Allo at that 30 mark. Kendall Wells just one away.
And so much left in the season.
You can just hear the anticipation from Sooner fans. When Wells is in the box, every foul ball, you hear that gasp. But she does not disappoint, and Aslanzi goes right after Gabby Garcia. You got to love the response, getting the K right after the home run on a really nice pitch on the inner half.
29 of Kendall's 47 hits have been home runs.
Stupid. Cassie
Crazy.
Pickering stands in and hacking first pitch, but Slanzi working in the strike zone, going right after these Sooner hitters. Nobody on, 2 outs. And nice pitch up in the zone. And one thing that we see more out of Slanzi than we have seen from other pitchers on this Wildcat staff, more swings and misses. And we've seen a couple here. She fires the 0-2 and misses low, but I really like that location with that drop ball.
I think that's part of it, is you've got to find those locations that's close enough to get the hitters to chase, not close enough to leave it up and hanging in the zone.
And ground ball right to Blum, and she'll take care of it.
Of her hits this season have been home runs, and that is unbelievable.
It's unbelievable as a freshman. It's unbelievable as a super senior. I don't care who you are.
Exactly. I mean, that's incredible. There's no real words for that.
And Allie Blum right back up the middle. And Blum has been a thorn in this Sooners side. That was her 3rd hit between last night and today. Right back up the middle, but what an effort by Agbayani. Nearly got a glove on it.
The Golden Glove winner covering that ground, but great piece of hitting. Trying to get the table started. Allie Blum has been a pretty good threat over these last 2 games.
She will take off 8 for 10 on the season in stolen bases as Maddie Clark stands in. Clark, a strikeout victim back in the 1st. And right on cue, you want to know who's aware that Allie Blum will take off? Kendall Wells with the back pick.
I love this effort. That looks like a close call there. Perfectly placed throw, and McDaniel over at first base, putting herself in a good position to make that tag.
A little bit of a change of speeds from Wachenio. And I will say this, and it's the little things on the base paths that put pressure on defenses. Here's one of those little things that Allie Blum is doing. Her leadoffs are so aggressive, and you can just see it as the 3-0 is popped up to the right side. Ella Parker takes care of it, and 3-0 swinging. Bring up Carissa Hamilton. Hamilton 0 for 1 on the day. And outside of the home run back in the 1st, Miley Wachenio has been lights out. Blum, the first base runner since the 1st inning. Wildcats trying to make Hamilton a stand-up double. Bring up Abby Hammond.
Just finding their ways to be a threat, stay in the game. A 7-1 run ball.
Keeping those hands inside. Keep that pitch fair. But Kentucky, never say die. And this is a team that are going to be challenged. They have been challenged. We've talked about the SEC schedule that they have had to deal with. We've talked about the injuries. I mean, this is a team, again, we can't say it enough, that has faced adversity, but stay in the moment. You talk to Coach Lawson, and wanting to, the messages that this team has is this pitch sky high, not going to be deep enough to score Blum at 3rd, and 2 quick outs. as Abby Dayton gets on her horse and makes a play. Read that ball off the bat immediately, Destiny.
And just a great play by Abby Dayton, continuing to take charge here. Because her momentum is coming into home plate, she had to take lead on that play, ensure that she was the one catching that ball to have the throw and the chance at home plate. But able to keep Blum on the base paths, not even a threat. She didn't even attempt. Really good call by Abby Dayton in left field.
Reagan Oni in the box for Kentucky, an opportunity to chip away at that Sooner lead. Pacheco pulls the string, little off-speed pitch. Just as we've talked so much about the two-out production we've seen on the Oklahoma side, Kentucky looking for a little bit of it here themselves. Runners at second at A&M, and talk so much. We can talk over and over about just the competition in the SEC, and Sooners have had a tough schedule. I would say it's safe to say they haven't gotten to the toughest part of their SEC schedule yet. As Ella Parker is aboard with a leadoff single to start the fourth.
And I would agree with you. I think they've got some pretty tough matchups coming up. I mean, the games down in Texas, the series starting next weekend, is going to be a tough one. I think that environment is going to be a tough one to play in. Arkansas coming here, it's going to be a tough one. Got the Gasso matchup there. Taking full advantage of all of the opportunities given to her. She's seeing the ball so well, swinging that bat so hard. See that whip of the barrel.
Catching a little ricochet.
She cannot believe it.
Makes for a great Friday. The two-run home run will bring up Ailana Agbayani. Agbayani 1 for 1 on the day. Drew a walk back in the first. And Aslanzi, we've talked so much about the velocity and her ability to move the ball, but has given up a couple home runs here since she's entered this game back in the second.
Heads up, Coach Gasso. Hard foul ball right at her.
She's still nimble.
She's still got it.
Swansea ahead here, no balls and 2 strikes.
Bayani puts up a good fight in all of her at-bats. Lots of foul balls. Trying to find the right timing. Working with a clean slate here. Nobody out, nobody on. It's a good opportunity for her to kind of set the tone, get something going, keep something going.
On the flip side of that, Aslanzi trying to keep Kentucky, again at this point, 8-run deficit for the Wildcats, and putting the Sooners just 3 outs away from ending this game in the top of the 5th. But Aslanzi needing to keep this game in check as that ball is laced to left field. But gloved and taken care of. We've seen some really good reads off the bat for Kentucky in their outfield. Some hard hit balls, line drives. Emery Donaldson, Peyton Plotz making some good plays. Another one there by Reagan Oni. Looks like we're going to see the freshman Alyssa Parker enter this ball game, and it's very similar to what we saw in game 1. Entered the game a little bit later. expect to see her stay in probably at third base.
Another freshman that we can talk about for days. I mean, she's been another big part of this lineup, finding herself playing some at first, playing some at third, pitching. She's done well in the circle. Alyssa Parker with 10 home runs on the season. Batting .333 as a freshman. Who plays both sides of the field, and that's extremely difficult.
Absolutely, and you know, Destiny, you hit on it just a little bit, but has those 10 home runs, and Parker has not started every game, right? And having that type of production in spot starts and pinch hit positions in places where she's maybe come into the game here a little bit later, but we've seen her in so many different roles, but is just handling whatever is thrown at her so well as this ball is lined to the right side, and Parker is aboard.
Just loving what I'm seeing from the freshman class. I mean, they're able to just find their way on. They fit right into this roster. And they've really been a big component of this roster. Lexi McDaniel being called upon, Alyssa Parker being called upon, finding their way on the base paths, doing what's needed of them.
Coach Gasso making some lineup changes. Going to the bench and looking for Tia Malloy. Again, another one of these offensive threats, and I say offensive threats, another one of these ball players who just does things so well, and it's gotten some starts throughout the season, has gotten some opportunities. The sophomore 0 for 1 in her at bat late in game one. But there are a few hitters I see take a more aggressive hack than what we see from Tia Malloy. And there's one right off the bat. I'm gonna flare foul.
First pitch swinging. Love the aggressiveness.
Malloy, a .367 hitter on the year, but a .767 slugging percentage, .459 with that on-base percentage. So finding ways to wreak some havoc when she gets her opportunities, and so Swansea gets her chasing. And big strikeouts for Swansea, trying to keep this game in check enough to give the Wildcats a fighting shot in the top of the fifth. Wildcats will have to score to extend this ball game, as Cheney Helton stands in. And if you're Kentucky, again, not wanting to dig into that bullpen too much, still one more game tomorrow. So really wanting to see Aslanzi bear down here with 2 outs, and it's exactly what she's doing. We've seen, and I feel like I've said this over and over, but I feel like, and I said this last night and I'm gonna say it again, the Kentucky pitching staff has been all or nothing.
Yeah.
They've been really solid. They've also had a high number of walks. We've seen 5 here in game 2, saw 5 in game 1 along with a hit by pitch. Also a hit by pitch added here today. So between free passes, the long ball. But then we've seen some really good pitches and some really good locations. And speaking of good locations, Cheney Helton down on strikes, and Aslanzi, but has worn so many different hats and a little bit of a different look. She throws hard, to put it lightly, but does a really good job of changing speeds. Gonna mix quadrants, but the freshman has really got some good stuff and has shown it when she's gotten her opportunities in the circle.
She has been fun to watch, and I think anytime she's called upon, she has found her way.
And first pitch off the bat for Peyton Platts on the 1-0, and Platts is aboard here in the 5th. And again, in a position for Kentucky of needing to score at least a run to continue this ball game. And Ella Emmert. Barker pulls the string. Lots of changes for the Sooners defensively, as Cheney Helton stays in this ball game and goes to center field. Cassidy Pickering into left. Abby Dayton at third. Isabella Emmerling behind the dish. And there's something we don't see all too often. Abby Dayton.
We talked about how Coach Gasso was going to handle Nellie McEnroe-Moranis being out for the season, and
that pitch gets away from Emmerling, and Platts will move up. Huge run for Kentucky at second base to extend this ball game.
The result of Nellie McEnroe-Moranis being out for the season was Coach Gasso decided, let's have tryouts for third base. She said Sydney Barker kind of beat that out, but she was very impressed with Abby Dayton and her ability to play some third. Big opportunity for Peyton Platts at second base. Runners in scoring position. Wildcats wanting to keep this game going.
Parker retires Emmert by way of the K for the second time here today. Bring up Emery Donaldson, and nice location here by Parker with the drop ball and getting Emmert to chase outside the strike zone. Donaldson flew out to left field, back in the third, and Kentucky has come out guns a-blazing, scored all of their runs in this series so far in the first inning. 2 runs in the first in game 1, and then were kept quiet throughout the rest of that ball game. Same thing here today. Carly Sleeman, first at bat of the ball game, leaves the yard, puts that momentum in the Wildcat dugout. The offense has been pretty quiet as ground ball to Gabby Garcia. She fires it across in a play that Garcia makes look routine. It's definitely not when you're seeing those kind of hops.
Just being decisive. I mean, she's playing deep in the hole. I love the way that she kind of sat back and read that hop. Didn't come in charging too aggressively. She decided, I'm going to sit back, let this one come to me, fire and throw. We talked about it early on in this game, how Kentucky did come out aggressive last game and this game. It's that in-between time of keeping it alive, and that's a great pitch from Alyssa Parker. Coming in at 44 miles per hour, really pulling the string, keeping these hitters off balance. But early in the count, being able to throw that is tough as a hitter.
Rule victory for the Sooners. Leads all all of college softball. Bacheno improves to 11-0, and she was good after she settled in, Destiny.
She was great in the circle. I think Coach Rocha is going to be very pleased with what she saw. Coach Gasso thinking the same thing. I love how they work together throughout this game. They both shine in the circle today. But what I love most is that stat line across the board. We're seeing 9 runs on 9 hits and 0 errors. That means they played very clean defense. Pitchers did their job, and offense showed up. Very impressed with today's game.
Sooners improved to 10-1 in SEC play, while Kentucky drops to 1-13, and it's been a tough go of it. It's been a tough month of March and early start to April for the Wildcats, but again, you're not looking at outcomes if you're this coaching staff. You're not looking at outcomes if you are in a Wildcat uniform. You've got to look at the way that you're going about playing the game, and the outcomes are not there.